What's going on, guys? I'm Adam, and this week I've been driving this 2018 Nissan Titan XD. It is the King Cab, it's the Pro-4X model, and it's got the V8 Turbo Cummins Diesel. Let's take a closer look. By the time this truck was launched, its previous generation was 12 years old, and that's a long time. Every other truck out there got a major update in the time that this thing stayed stale. Now we get a new Titan, and it looks a lot better than the previous generation. There's a lot about it that's a lot better than the previous generation, obviously. But let's take a second and look at the exterior design. Now, a couple years ago when they showed this off at the Dallas Auto Show, it was the first time I was able to see it. And one of my first critiques of it was that it looked like somebody took an F-150 and put a bunch of aftermarket parts on it to try to make it not look like an F-150. I think given some time and seeing it a lot more, it looks a lot better than I initially thought, especially if you look at the Platinum Reserve package. But this Pro-4X package looks pretty good as well. So much like almost all the other trucks out there, each package has a little bit different of a grille design. This is the Pro-4X design. Platinum has all chrome, and then now they have the Midnight Edition, which is all black. This one being the Pro-4X, you get these off-roading tires, which make this look a lot more aggressive than the standard with the road tires. So if you're thinking to yourself, man, that looks like a big truck, you aren't wrong. It is a big, heavy truck. It is classified as a Super Duty vehicle, even though it's kind of in between the light duty and Super Duty categories. So it's not as small as like an F-150, but it's not quite as big as an F-250. And Nissan thinks that they have a really nice place in the market with this truck to compel buyers that would probably have gone for an F-250 or that full Super Duty. This is a little more inexpensive and can still do a lot of things those Super Duty trucks can do. Of course, everybody's got a gimmick with their tail beds, and the Nissan is no different. To make it easier to get in and out of the bed, you have this little kick out step right here. Tailgate's a soft drop, and this is an easy step up into the bed of the truck. Now, speaking of the bed, this is an 8-foot bed, and it's the only size that the Titan XD comes in, but it's a good size, and you get these side things much like the Ram box in the Rams that you can actually open and store stuff in. All right, and to open these, it's got a little rubber grommet over the lock. It can be locked, but not through the key fob as far as I'm aware, and then they just open. Plenty of room to store things. It does look like you have drain plugs, so if you fill this with ice to put some beverages in, you are able to drain that water out later. All right, and under the hood is a 5-liter V8. It is a diesel, a turbo diesel V8. And this thing pushes 310 horsepower and 555 foot-pounds of torque. And just a quick thing to note about this being a Nissan and a Japanese truck. It was actually designed in California. The Cummins Diesel is built in Tennessee, and the truck itself is built here in America in, I believe. So with that all said, you could definitely classify this as an American truck. All right, enough looking around the truck. Let's get inside and check out the interior. Now, the first thing to note that this truck does have keyless entry. So it's got the basic Nissan key fob. You got remote start, but you also got the keyless entry. Now, you only have one button here that does the lock and unlock. So click it once and it's locked. Click it again, it unlocks. No problem. All right, so one more note here. This is the King Cab, so you got your regular door and you got like a little half door that swings open, and it swings open pretty far, so you got plenty of room to get in. But once you are in, there's not much room in those back seats. Now these seats lift up to give you a more flat floor, but this is my driving position, and even the kids have a hard time fitting in these back seats, much less a grown adult. These are power adjustable seats on both the passenger and driver side, which is really great. Driver side is 8-way adjustable, and this is a 4-way adjustable. These are the Pro-4X leather seats, which again are really comfortable, much better than the previous generation Pro-4X seats, which I thought were pretty uncomfortable. You also get these really big side mirrors, which definitely help you see what's going on around this car as you're driving. You get blind spot monitoring as well, but we'll cover that a little bit later. So moving along to the interior of the new Titan. This was one of my biggest complaints about the last generation Titan, was the interior. Even the Pro-4X model, which is what we're sitting in now of this generation. Last generation, I thought the interior was really uncomfortable and really outdated. Go figure, it was about 12 years old. This one though has changed completely. You get a lot of technology in here. These seats are actually really comfortable and really nice. Driving wise, it's really nice. I do have a few complaints, and most of them have to do with the center dash and the infotainment system. All right, and you got a full center console, which has a lot of space to store stuff, especially down in this little cubby, which means you get a pull gear shifter mounted up on the steering wheel instead of a traditional gear shifter down in the console. Driving wise, it is a diesel truck, and it is a noisy diesel engine. Unlike some of the other diesels that try to be quiet, this thing is unabashedly diesel. So it sounds like a diesel truck driving it around your neighborhood. It's definitely going to be waking up neighbors if you're leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning. Power wise, again, it's a diesel engine, 550 foot-pounds of torque and 310 horsepower. It gets up and goes. And of course, I didn't get a chance to haul anything, but if you are hauling stuff, this is not going to be an issue for this truck. And again, this is a Pro-4X package, so you do get the all-wheel drive. And I didn't really get to take it out off-road, but I have driven Nissan's Pro-4X packages off-road before, and even in this Titan during the truck rodeo, and I have to say it's just a great thing. If you ever driven or seen a Frontier Pro-4X off-road, you'll know that Nissan knows what they're doing with their off-road vehicles. It is a big, heavy vehicle, especially with that big old diesel engine up front, but you do get a lot of ground clearance. It is a difficult vehicle to climb up in because you don't have the side steps, but without these side steps, then you get more ground clearance for the Pro-4X package. But at least you get these handles to grab onto to help pull yourself up. So during my week with this truck, I did drive it as an everyday vehicle, just around town, grocery shopping, to and from the office. But we also took it out on a bit of a road trip where we went to a water park in Waco. So we drove from Dallas to Waco, which is a couple-hour drive, and loaded it up with ice chest, with grills, tables, all kinds of stuff for the water park that we were going to. And yeah, it did great. The little step to get into the bed was a great option to help get all that heavy stuff up in the bed. The bed had plenty of room. The whole trip was mostly highway mileage, but we averaged about 18 miles to the gallon. Other than that, we've been averaging about 15 to 15.2 miles to the gallon. So you don't get stellar gas mileage. This isn't a diesel to get better gas mileage. It's a diesel to give it more torque to be able to haul more stuff. Which brings me to the competition and why you would buy this car. So obviously Nissan is kind of going for its own niche market, having this in between a light duty and full duty truck. So saying that it competes with something like an F-150 is a little unfair, and saying that it competes with something like an F-250 is a little unfair. But Nissan is definitely targeting that class that's looking for something like an F-250 or a 2500, but not wanting to pay that kind of money. This truck, as it sits with the Pro-4X package, the off-roading, the diesel engine, everything, is under $60,000, which might sound a lot for a truck, but if you've never shopped for a Super Duty truck, that's actually really cheap for everything that this truck can do. So is this Pro-4X package going to be the best that you can get if you're looking for an off-roading vehicle? Probably not. Is it going to be the best if you're looking for a luxury vehicle? Well, even if you get the Platinum Reserve, which is their top-of-the-line package, which I actually really like, and I drove at the truck rodeo, it's probably still not the most luxurious truck on the market today. Where I think this really fits in is if you're looking for a work truck that can do more than your standard light-duty truck, but you don't want to be spending the money to get a full Super Duty. Also, if you're looking at the Platinum Reserve and you get the V8 gas engine instead of this turbo diesel, it's a really great truck. So the whole stigma of only buying an American-built truck from the American manufacturers is kind of lost with my generation. We've had these Nissan Titans and the Toyota Tundras pretty much our whole lives, our whole driving lives, and they're they're really decent trucks, and this one really steps up the game for Nissan. So there's no denying that Ram and Ford and GMC are making really great trucks right now, but the Tundra and this Titan are also really competitive. And if you like the looks, you really like the interior styling, which I would say I have no problems with the looks. I wouldn't buy this yellow truck. I have no real problems with the looks of this truck. The interior is way better than it used to be. There's just a lot that this thing has to offer for the price. Alright guys, well that's a wrap for the Nissan Titan. I hope you enjoyed the video, you got something out of it. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching. Driving wise, this is a diesel